Welcome, Broncos country, to therapy session with Let's Talk Broncos. I was going to remove myself from the chat and let Zach Sears and Joey Richards handle the show, but I couldn't disappoint. I'm here for you, and so are the guys. Gentlemen, how are you?
You know what? It's a very disappointing day. I won't lie to Broncos country. It's been a tough day. It's been a tough day. Broncos country ruins like the so when the Broncos lose like they did yesterday, it's like a 3-day effect. It's like the next 3 days are scary. Like it's not looking too good, right? Um, I do have a little better of a I don't know mood just because the Nuggets play tomorrow, but yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm looking forward to the content this Broncos loss provides, though. Zach, how are you doing?
Nightmare. It's a nightmare. This is so bad. This is so bad. Yeah, this is gonna be a sloppy show. I see all the pig comments. Yeah, get everyone get your troughs out. It's slop time. I can't believe where this team is at. It's crazy. The stat about, I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but like the stat about how it's worse than the Paxton Lynch stuff.
Stop
And
it.
like similar sample sizes. That's insane. That's insane. Like everyone watched Paxton Lynch, and like it's bad in a different way. But like everyone watched Paxton Lynch, and it was just so clear immediately, like, oh, this is not an NFL quarterback. Like this guy cannot handle what's happening at this level. And oh man, it's insane. This is going to be a gross show. This is crazy. I'm sorry, Broncos country. We will get through it together. This is your support group.
I don't know how supportive we're going to be, but as Zach and Joey have already placed it, terrible loss, just disappointing. It got our hopes up again, got a little bit more jazzed up for this Monday Night Football game. Primetime did not disappoint. It actually brutally murdered all of us.
Oh my God. Prime time. I can't do it anymore.
I am trying to put on a brave face today. I think that we all are obviously not in good sorts. I don't know where the Broncos go from here, but I know that we're going to continue to talk about them. If you're watching over on Twitter and you'd like to interact with the show as the chat is doing right now, I'm over on Facebook, so you can go comment over there, or you can check out the YouTube stream and get into the chat over there. Cal says, put on a hat. I don't own a hat. Well, I guess I could. I'll find a hat. Hold on 1 second.
In a hat.
Well, you guys all have nice little caps on, so I'm going to go find a hat here in a second while I get you guys started. There's no knives in the chat. There's pig emojis. Go ahead and conversate with us over there. Sorry, I'm not delaying. I'm just waiting for people to hop on. Let's get into it. I don't want to delay this any further. We need to talk a little bit about what happened and how we feel about it. This is Let's Talk Broncos. Guys, where do we want to start?
I think the only acceptable place to start is the Russell Wilson stuff. I think that's like the biggest news, no? Wilson looking a little rusty at quarterback. Credit to Zach on that one, by the way. Credit to Zach.
But yeah, help us get through this. I've got really bad puns for every segment, so that'll be just up the slop. Just we're up in the slop, and then we'll get through it later in the week. But this is this tidal wave.
So yeah, I mean, I just didn't think it looked very good. Again, much like the Colts game, it just seems like he's not seeing things. I mean, I think we knew coming into the season, it was like, and especially from a fan's perspective, let's go through fans' eyes real quick. People are telling you the whole offseason that Russ has a really, really tough time with the middle over the field throws, right? Like they're talking about that. Analysts are talking about that. Seahawks people are talking about that all the time. He can't find the middle of the field. Coming into this, I think a lot of fans are like, oh, damn, like he really can't find the middle of the field. You know what I mean? And it's true. Like, I don't know what's going on right now with it. It's what was that?
It's regressed.
It's terrible. And it's never affected an offense to this point where it's like, oh my God, the Broncos can't get first downs. Like they can't move the ball. It's really, really, really rough out there for Broncos fans right now. And I get what they're talking about. Like there's a lot of Broncos fans upset, and I understand it.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. I think that you're asking Broncos fans not to have emotion. That's not what fandom is. It's not what exists out there. And it can go both ways, right? You obviously want to support the team that you love, but you have to speak up when something's happening that just doesn't seem right. Talking about open field, you had Greg Dulcich out there who, thank goodness for that touchdown, was wide open in the midfield quite frequently, just being completely overlooked. Frustrating, completely frustrating. Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Like I keep saying that, but that's what it is. Like you could have not imagined Russell Wilson being this bad, not only because he's never been this bad before. Like Joey said, he was a walking top 10 offense in Seattle every single year. And some of that was maybe skill position talent, but they didn't have a whole lot outside of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf that wowed you until Rashad Penny got it clicking towards the later stages of 2021. And even in the bad seasons where a lot of these flaws we're going to highlight throughout the next several weeks. All these flaws really started rearing their head. He was still producing a top 10 offense. Now the Broncos are the worst offense in the league and the worst offense of this miserable last 7-year stretch. Like, I don't think you could imagine it. And also just looking historically, there's not really another example of another quarterback Russ's age, like 32-ish, having a like cliff dive like this. This is incredible. From where he was, even towards the end of last year, like you look at the last 6 games last year, he's playing like a top 8 quarterback, to where he is now. It's remarkable. It's all time. It's, I think, what everyone feared with the Peyton Manning signing. Like, oh man, what if his neck surgery is so bad he just can never play again? And the wild thing is that's where Russ is, and he doesn't have the debilitating neck injury. Sorry, I'm ranting. It's just I cannot believe what we're seeing.
I want to rant. I want this show to be us talking about what we saw, because honestly, it's what we have to do right now. I want to also say that a tied game going into overtime, a close game, the defense carrying this entire team on its shoulders. There's a lot of good going around. I guess like they kept it close. It was only 3 points. It was a muff punt and a chip shot field goal that ended the game. Like there's a lot of like, what if. This season has been a lot of what if. But yeah, I see this, Cal. The pain is real. The pain is real and the injury is real. There's unfortunate injuries across the board. Aaron Patrick suffering an ACL tear. That's what, now 5 on the season. It just seems a little bit out of sorts. It's like the wheels are turning, the snowball's rolling down the hill, the baby carriage is flying down the street. Don't know how to save it. Just kind of staring in disbelief.
I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Zach.
I'm going way too long, Joe. It's all you.
Yeah, I was just about to say, in the off season, man, it was really hard to come to this conclusion where the Broncos are right now. Like, did you think? I mean, I guess I'll ask the chat. Did anyone think that we'd be missing Teddy Bridgewater and Vic Fangio a little bit? Because I am, like, a little bit. Like, those were 2 guys that I wish, like, I don't know, like, at least with Vic Fangio, the penalties weren't as frequent. And with Teddy Bridgewater, the offense looks like, to this point at least, the offense moved the ball better. It's crazy. And that's with Pat Shurmur at offensive coordinator. It's just a very, very, very scary situation the Broncos are in, especially being, and I saw some people in the chat also saying this, that extension, like that's really the issue here, right? They need to figure this out because of the extension. They're stuck with Vic Fangio, and I was vocal on Twitter, or not with Vic Fangio, with Russell Wilson. Because of that, like it's not just, hey, how fast can I get out of this contract? It's that George Payton down stuck with him because they invested so much in him, right? So if they let loose and admitted defeat in this whole situation, everybody's fired. Everybody's gone. There's not enough time to say, we're going to go rebuild this team again. I just don't think there is. There's not enough time. I think the first person we're going to see moved is Nathaniel Hackett at the end of the season if this continues with this offense right now. But if they move on from Hackett, it's all going to be how can we make Russell Wilson's job easier? How can we fix him? How can we make this a better situation for him to succeed? Yet again, because why? They're stuck with him. If George Paton ends up moving on from Russell Wilson, it's going to admit defeat. And I think that sooner or later, we're probably going to see a new GM. It's just all a scary situation for the Broncos, top to bottom.
It's bad. I mean, I do think they're kind of locked in, but I do want to have the context. It's like for the next 2 years. I think everyone is overrating it a little. If it's this bad, the Broncos are not going to like drag it out till 2026. Like that's just NFL teams will not resign themselves to that because you're going to start losing money on your brand. Like immediately, you can't drag this out for 5 years. You just spend $250 million on this, and you're seeing fans leave in overtime game that's still up for grabs, like as it's heading to overtime. That's concerning to owners. Like you look at when Matt Rule was fired, David Tepper's first comments immediately after were there was too much red in my stadium. The stuff like this moves because they played the Buccaneers or whatever it was, Falcons, some team that wears red, Cardinals. It was the Cardinals. But yeah, it's just, it's bad, but I don't think it's like, oh my God, this is the next 5 years. I do think that should be stressed. Like this off season, for example, if you just ate it and we're,
oh God, that'd be scary. That'd be a scary situation though, Zach.
Not the dead cap, but I think if you could swindle a little trade, and we've seen it before, it would probably be the Broncos taking a lot of egg on their face. Maybe it'd be a new regime being super aggressive in a teardown. I think 2024 is way more likely, but you could blow it up in a fairly soon off season. So I don't want fans to totally drive themselves off a cliff, but it's looking bad right now. I don't think it should be this bad. I feel like this cliff dive is so extreme. There should be some leveling out. Maybe I'm not confident in that, but I think it's at least a possibility. And yeah, maybe the injury is a contributing factor. What I really want to see, frankly, is with this injury for Russell Wilson to sit down for a minute. Like if we're saying that's if that's the reason for his struggles, and okay, this is my last thing. It annoys me. You see the stuff coming out through Tom Pelissero and then Ian Rappaport saying this is a real injury or whatever, like where he really underscored that it's serious. It's not just being made up. This isn't a fake injury. This is a real injury. Like that's being given to these insiders by someone who's trying to make Russell Wilson look like better, and be like, hey, it's the injury. Russ normally isn't this bad. He's just playing hurt. Whoever's putting that out there, I'll let you decide. But that seems to be the narrative that's being pushed. So if that's the narrative we're pushing, fine. Then sit Russell Wilson down. Put it on the injury. All right, he's so bad and he's hurting his team right now. It's so apparent to everyone watching the games. So sit him down for a minute. We learned this. Everyone in the National Football League learned this exact lesson with Russell Wilson last season. Sit him down for a minute. And let's see what happens with Brett Rippon. I suspect the offense gets better. And I think fingers are going to stop pointing quite as much as Hackett, though I do think this team's poorly coached. There's open guys in this offense. It should not be this bad. Fingers should be pointed at Russ. And yes, it is Bree's fault. I'm done talking for the show. You guys take it from here.
Christopher makes a good point here. It's Bree's fault. Didn't sacrifice enough bad people to make us win this year. I don't know if I put the caveat in there that it was necessarily bad people that were making the list, but I just know it was not enough. I didn't do my part here for Broncos country, and for that, I apologize. I did want to remind anyone that if you're newly clicking onto the show over on Twitter, please go ahead and jump over to Facebook or YouTube so you can interact. Chat is going absolutely crazy. People have a lot to say. I'm going to highlight some more comments here in a second. I just wanted to reiterate the point that I think if Russell Wilson is this banged up and hurt, he's got to sit until after the bye week at least. He needs a little bit more Christopher is now offering himself up to be thrown into the volcano. I will absolutely do so. Film it and stream it live here on Let's Talk Broncos. Thank you, Christopher, for sacrificing yourself. More pigs and knives in the chat. So sorry, I can't show those. They go against all the rules and regulations. I did want to touch the algorithms. It's just a little scary over there. If he's that hurt, he needs to sit. And I understand that there's this point of like, it's Russell Wilson. He's going to grind. He's going to go out there and show he's a true war. You got to sit. You got to rest it out. We're going to see what Brett Rippon has. I really hope that he is the one starting against the Jets. It's not what people want to see, but at this point, you're just risking a lot more injury to a huge asset you played a lot of money for. And I don't think it's necessary. And I'm not saying that you're throwing in the towel necessarily by doing so, but if Brett Rippon can score more than 16 points with this offense, we're going to find out a lot about this team. And frankly, I want to see exactly what happens next Sunday. I think that it's imperative we see how that plays out.
And there's soft tissues and injuries. You don't heal those by keep playing. Like,
yeah. You got shot, Zach. Stop.
Greg Dulcich was put on IR for half a year because of a hamstring injury. Well, let's equal treatment, please. Sorry, Bri, continue. It's just.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was reading the chat while you all were having fun. Eric Ziegler over on Facebook said, agreed, Bri. Thank you, sir. More comments like this are appropriate, and you can send them in. You can also tell me I'm dead wrong, because that's what we're here to do, is we're here to listen to you. This is a therapy session. We're talking about a game that did not go the way that we thought it was going to. I went on live on air on radio, switched my prediction for the game because I was that much more bought in with this Broncos team that I thought they could potentially pull it off against the Chargers. They didn't, so I'm upset about it. I want to talk about it with all of you. Appreciate you so much. Thumbs up in the chat. Yeah. Christopher Hart said Dulcich was on a milk carton all summer. Oh, but he's back now. I'm so happy. That first touchdown score was plus 4,000. And wow. I really hope that some people took that bet. I did not, because I was convinced he wasn't going to see any snaps, and how wrong I was. I want to talk about something else that bothered a lot of Broncos country from that game last night, and that would be the benching of a couple of players, more specifically Melvin Gordon. I didn't even look at these beforehand. Melvin Gordon, I don't like it. I don't like this at all. I don't like what you're implying. I don't appreciate
Zach
it.
had a lot of time on his hands today.
No, man, they were quick. I gotta say, the Greg Dulcich one was tough. I forgot what I went with that one, but I was like, I've got nothing. Bad. That one's bad. I almost went with a Dulcich room with Greg Dulcich, which is just terrible. But I had nothing good, so I wanted to lean into it. But yeah, I think he is done. I'm sorry, Bri. I know he's your boy, but it's rough. It's the pouting on the sidelines is crazy. Why
keep the same energy for Jerry Jeudy pouting?
Wait. I have
contributing, and yeah, the pouting's a problem, but it's also nowhere near as bad as Melvin Gordon. Gordon's in a solo shot, pouting on the sideline as the team takes the lead in the fourth quarter. That's your boy's solo. His was way dialed up from Jerry Jeudy.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. I just don't. This is the one thing I don't understand. I don't.
What's bringing to the team? Why are you having a locker room cancer who's fumbling away games for I don't know. It doesn't seem worth it.
So why? I guess I need information, right? Because why did he get 3 rushing attempts to Latavius Murray's 3 at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it stopped? Do we have an answer there? Because I feel like if you're gonna bench somebody, this should probably be communicated, guys. This is something that should probably be communicated, so he isn't pouting on the sideline.
It's
this to me. This is a coaching issue. If I was at my job and my boss just was like, "Hey, you're done," and I didn't get an answer to why, I would be upset. I would be very upset. Melvin Gordon thinks he can help the team win. If he came into the game prepared, I bet he would have a different reaction. The issue is that he wasn't.
It's been reported he was.
He got the reps at the beginning of the game, and then he was vocal about how he wasn't. He wasn't told a reason why.
It's been reported that he was told, both running backs were told ahead of the game, we are going to ride the hot hand in this game. And after the game planned reps that were ascribed to Melvin Gordon, they decided to go with Latavius Murray and Mike Boone. He was given a heads up ahead of the game that this was the game plan, and still behaved this way. Maybe, and now it should have been, once you see him pouting on the sidelines, maybe you probably should go up to him during the game and be like, dude, get your shit together. Here's what's happening. Like, remember how we told you before the game that we were going to give it to the hot hand? You got 8 yards on 3 carries. So that's not you. And that's why we're going elsewhere. I
get it. Like in the chat, some of the chat's kind of saying this year, Christopher and D-Bronx. Was Latavius Murray the hot hand? Like, sure, he outproduced Melvin Gordon a little bit, but was he hot? I don't think, like, what did he do that was so impressive? What did he do that was so impressive to everybody? I didn't see oh my God, we need to ride the Latavius Murray train right now. I didn't see that. I thought he was cool. I thought he was okay. I thought he did his job. But he didn't do anything that I haven't seen Melvin Gordon do.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what we were maybe talking about back during the Raiders game or whatever after that one. Like, they have to turn, or I guess it was ahead of that one. If he keeps fumbling, they have to turn elsewhere. And there was just nowhere else to turn immediately after the Javonte Williams injury. And now they have somewhere else to turn. And in the moment, Murray was outproducing him, and they went there. Like, I do agree that some of it's coaching, but man, you're a professional. Like, it's not good. It's not good. And it wasn't good for Jerry Jeudy either, but it was dialed up to a different level for Melvin Gordon for sure. Also, Albert Okwuegbunam in the same position.
I think that some of your bias is coming through on Melvin Gordon.
I think yours is. You're so critical of Jerry Jeudy and not at all of Melvin Gordon.
That was a great little thing right there. I'm not picking a side here because
I'm not either, but hold on. Let me ask Brayke's question. Hold on. And then I want you to continue, Joey.
Yeah.
Question to the host: how does an NFL coach tell a player he's benched? Is it a full-on discussion or a statement? And then he qualifies that, like asking us, what's a good way to tell him is what he's asking. Joey, continue with your thought, and then I want to kind of get into this and then move on from Melvin Gordon.
So if Zach, I didn't see this in report that Zach saw, so I could be completely wrong. But if Melvin Gordon was told they're going to ride the hot hand, I guess his confusion probably was more so: is Latavius Murray the hot hand right now, or is this just like D-Rock said, like the lukewarm hand? Like, I don't think that it was like all that spectacular to be like, oh yeah, Latavius Murray's the guy today. I just didn't see that. If it was a discussion beforehand where it was like, Melvin, you have fumbled a ton. And I've been vocal about this on this podcast, right? A lot of times I've said, hey, we need to bench Melvin Gordon because the guy's fumbling a ton. That would be a conversation you have pre-game saying, Melvin Gordon, you are fumbling a ton. We can't trust you. But the fact that I just think if we take the fumbling out of the equation, which in this situation, it feels like it was, right? Because we're just riding the hot hand. Melvin Gordon is a better runner of the football than Latavius Murray. He is. He just is, if we're taking the fumbling out of it. Melvin Gordon is a very effective runner. He is. It just is what it is. I don't see why you would even say we're riding the hot hand between him and Latavius Murray. I think Melvin Gordon's a better runner. And I don't know. Is there anything that I've missed? Maybe I've missed something where it was like the coaching staff was concerned about the fumbling. Because up until this point, it seemed like the coaching staff has completely disregarded that fact. They haven't even brought up the fumbling. All they've been like...
publicly, which I think is to be expected.
Yep, sure, but like, why is Melvin? Either Melvin's making this up or he's not. But he pretty much at the end of the game went to reporters.
I think he's kind of demonstrated, like with his off-season comments dating back 2 years about the Javonte thing, that he's maybe not the most reliable narrator about how he competes for jobs. I think you could probably even go back to the Austin Eckler competition in San Diego / Los Angeles and find quotes pointing out that fact. That's why I kind of side with the reports over Melvin here. I also think, like, now in Melvin's defense, I thought it was really problematic how Calvin Anderson, also unexpectedly benched, was just like a huge sideline distraction all night long. And then, was making comments in the locker room afterwards, and then had this really immature meltdown on social media afterwards. Oh, no, wait, no, he was mature the whole way through, did none of those things. That was all Melvin Gordon.
Wait, what? I'm confused now. I was
my
like,
point being, Calvin Anderson's in the
offended.
exact same spot and did none of the things that Melvin Gordon did.
Absolutely no
oh, got it.
reason.
Yeah.
But
I have a hard time saying it's immature, though. I do. I just do. Like, these guys are competitive. At the end of the day, it's professional football. They're being paid to do this. It's not like pee-wee football where it's like, oh, we're all in. We're only doing this to learn things and to, like, this is professional football. And I think that these guys care about playing and not playing. Like, I'm sure
100%, but
it's just like
different with Melvin. Calvin Anderson was upset too. I guarantee you. Don't you think he was upset, especially given everything that happened in the preseason and everything? No, people can handle it differently. It's not even the emotional part. My frustration is more like Melvin Gordon adds so little to the team. Like, why are we putting up with this for him? Like, it's so not worth it to have like a potential locker room cancer who's also fumbling fucking games away and is a past his prime running back. Like, it's just not worth it. It should have been Javonte Williams, Latavius Murray, and Mike Boone from the jump. Like, it is not worth it. That's my take.
Zach, that's where I totally agree with you, but I just wish that it doesn't seem like the fumbling played a factor at all. They said they're riding the hot hand. Like, that wasn't an issue with the coaching staff. That's my issue. That doesn't seem like an issue.
I think
they said if Melvin Gordon was outproducing him, they're going to play Melvin Gordon. If Latavius Murray is outperforming him, they're going to play Latavius Murray. The fumbling you can throw away because I don't even think that's part of the conversation. It's who's the better running back, who's the better guy at running the football, and it just seems like to me, like, I don't know, like if that's not a factor, where's the issue? Like, I guess. I don't know. It's weird because I'm thinking of it from the coach's perspective and not my own, because I would have not played Melvin Gordon a while ago, but the reasoning would have been different.
Okay. I'm calling time of death on this conversation unless, Zach, you would like to have a rebuttal, but I don't want to talk about it anymore, and I think it's my purview to just back out of this slowly. You both make tremendous points. My facial expressions and shakes of my head notwithstanding. I do want to point out a comment from David Logan over on Facebook. I thought it was the Dave Logan. I got excited for a moment. Hello, sir. Thank you. Look like
Dave Logan?
Now I am even more because it's a new
We
viewer.
love you, David Logan. I don't know what Bree's problem is, but
Jesus Christ. The shotgun formation is not flying. It lasts 3 straight games, essentially. Watch the film, Coach. That's directly pointed at you, Coach Hackett, from David Logan and from Facebook.
Russ is one of the worst empty quarterbacks in the league, and it's one of the tendencies the Broncos have leaned the hardest into. What are you doing? This was demonstrated to you last year. I know the empty stuff was really cool with Aaron Rodgers for you, Nathaniel Hackett, last year. This guy's not Aaron Rodgers. Let's dial it. Let's dial it down, please. Like, I think it's mostly on Russ. I do think some dials could be turned in some ways to make this turd a little more polished.
All right, we're moving on. Samuel Castro agrees. Thank you. I've got this handled. We're going to go over to, I don't know what this one says, but I'm really excited for it because it's about Greg Dulcich. Let's light it up. Oh, his dashing debut. And then I forgot to hide the banner. Dashing because of his hair. Is that where we're going with this?
No, I just didn't have a pun, and so I went alliteration. That's what happened there. Yeah, drop your best Greg Dulcich pun in the chat and show me up.
Really excited to see the absolute stellar touchdown, the only touchdown, throwing touchdown that was scored there in that game. Really excited to see it. Was not expecting it. It's honestly, if you had to manifest something that you wish would happen, that would have been my pick, but it almost felt like a bold prediction gone too far. I didn't know he was playing until that Mike Kliss tweet. Was really excited to see it. And then he got absolutely ignored the rest of the game, which broke my little heart. Let's talk a little bit about rookie Greg Dulcich, because Zach, you didn't think he'd have any sort of impact right away.
Yeah, I'll leave my crow on that one, 100%. And by the way, this should be like so exciting to all Broncos country. Like he had, I think, and by the way, he should have had a much better night. You talked about it in the Russell Wilson segment. He was open several times, wide open over the middle for what would have been key third down conversions. First catch of his NFL career is a key third down conversion out to the flat where Russell Wilson doesn't have to see over a 6 foot tall individual. And then, of course, had the awesome throw. That was Russell Wilson's best play of the night. I think, yes, he got wide open, credit to Greg Dulcich there and knocked the defense for that. But I think you saw how he moved up in the pocket and delivered a strike. That was a little exciting. And yes, 16 and pregnant. Frankie says that's pretty funny. But yeah, he was. Sorry, that broke me. Yeah, way better than expected. The blocking stuff was right about where you expected, even when he was out in space, which was like slightly disappointing, not surprising, not necessarily below expectations, but if you saw a spark from him as a blocker, it would have been the perfect night. But yeah, I think he's going to contribute down the stretch, and that is unprecedented, really. I think, like from a tight end with this little practice time, I'm excited for him.
Yeah, it's one of the positions that takes the longest to develop in the NFL. It really does. You're learning two completely different traits, right? Blocking and receiving. And it's cool. He was able to come in and play right away. Like the production may not have always have been there. Like the touchdown he scored was a broken play, obviously. Shout out JC Jackson one time. Can we get a shout out JC Jackson in the chat? but yeah, like it was very cool watching him like understand the concepts and stuff like that. I thought Baron Browning last year, who in a very similar situation came in after missing so much time as a rookie, produced right away. Dulcich understanding the offense to this level right now, to where they just feel comfortable. Hey, you're going to play a ton of snaps. This the first game you're back is super, super impressive, and credit his work ethic and his ability to retain information, and all of that, because it's just really impressive. Shout out Greg Dulcich. I look forward to see more of him. I really do. For sure. And to Zach's point, Wilson did miss him a bunch. Unfortunately, one on a very, very important third down in overtime.
I don't understand what was going on all of the third downs. It was like run, throw the ball, absolutely miss the target or don't see a target, and can't convert for first downs. Go ahead.
I have one small thing on that point, because I don't think I made an offensive line banner. That was an oversight on my part. But man, the offensive line, and I don't know who, like individual players are playing bad on the offensive line. That's obvious. I don't know whether to point it like adjust it them though. I don't know if it's coaching or if it's Russ, but like the way they're missing protections at the line of scrimmage pre-snap is like if it was happening with Trey Lance at quarterback, it'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, he's only played like 200 games since his freshman year of high school, or like 50 games or whatever the number is. This is like, Joey, right? Like this is the stuff he's missing is like so rudimentary, like not even first year NFL. It's like, as an air raid rookie quarterback, you should like kind of have some grasp. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Hey, you're 1,000% right, Zach. Can I, because we're talking about this in the private chat as well, shout out to the comments tonight. You guys are hilarious. You guys are so funny tonight. It's making me laugh
They're
every three
absolutely
seconds.
breaking me.
Yeah,
Absolutely breaking me. And I want to highlight all of them. I can't. I'm sorry.
Colton Cooper, and this is a little shot at me, and I'll take it because it made me laugh. He said, "Did J.C. Jackson get told why he got benched?" No, guys, he was getting burned. That
And
made me
he's
laugh. That
making
was
so
funny.
much money. That'd be crazy if he was doing that. The
That made me
biggest
laugh.
guaranteed, the most guaranteed money handed out in free agency this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, with J.C. Jackson and Russell Wilson kind of in the same boat. I liked Indy's Zach Russ staring at a wide open tight end and taking a sack anyway was part of the progression. I think that's a great double dig. You're getting Russ and you're getting Hackett's canned sound bites. That both of those make me really happy.
Yeah, you guys are fantastic. We love you. Thanks for the shouts out. Thanks for the comments. Again, if you're still over on Twitter, there's still time to hop on over. We've got a couple more things to cover. Let's hop into the next player that really stood out. The Baron of Pass Rush.
getting crazier and crazier.
This is getting ridiculous.
This one was a bit of a reach. But
It was.
I want to do something with Barron, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna reach for it. I don't care. Yeah, he's a menace. He's so awesome. Getting the interception, the fumble afterwards wasn't great, but the interception was sweet. And he's done it multiple weeks now. It looks legit. I don't think this is going to be a 2-game wonder thing. I think he's going to only get better as he adds a little more finesse to his game. I hope he gets to work with a coordinator like Evero the rest of his career. I'm so worried about losing Evero, man, because I love what he's doing defensively and with this pass rush. I think he's a big the players are talented and they're doing an unreal job, but I think Evero is using them so well. Like it's a great melding of player and coach there. It's what you wish was happening on the offensive side of the ball. But man, Baron Browning's blowing me away. I think the run defense has been better than expected, too. Like that hasn't been a deficiency that teams are exploiting. And it's special. You found a special pass rusher in the 90s and a special guard right there, too. That's phenomenal for the Broncos.
I just want to point out your comment about Coach Evero, because Joey, as we were all in mourning, decides to say, you know what, guys, you know what's really sad? And we're like, what, Joey? And he was like, there's a possibility we lose Evero after this season. And I wanted to, at that moment in time, step very steeply off the cliff. So I just wanted to throw that out to all of you so you can have it in your brain as well. He's doing a tremendous job with the talent on this defense. And there was a comment earlier from over on Facebook, I believe, was that you cannot ask more of this defense, Browning included. They are absolutely doing everything within their power, talent, the reaches within how far their wingspan is going to get after these guys. Alex Singleton, I want to throw that one out there too. It's just, you cannot gloss over these facts. And that's why it's just so frustrating that they're doing everything in their power to get a win and they can't. Joey, talk to me more about Baron Browning.
Yeah. Also, I just want to add on to your Singleton point real quick because it relates back to the Evero thing too. Evero is using Singleton really well. I just wanted to throw that out there. They're playing to his strengths really, really good, which is making him look like a much better player. So shout out to Evero for sure. Big shout out. But Baron Browning, yeah, awesome player. That play yesterday where he got that snap or where he got that step on the ball and timed it up perfect. It was so beautiful to see. We all loved it. It was like we haven't seen that in a little bit. Man, that was awesome. His pick was cool. So we learned he could play linebacker and edge. The one thing I'd say is we need to make sure he doesn't play running back. That's probably important, the way he fumbled on that play. We found a position he can't play, right? So, but
okay,
yeah.
So that entire sequence scared the living hell out of me. I just have to. Totally. That's where I almost passed out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But yeah, he's an awesome player. You got to love what you're seeing right now from Baron Browning. His athleticism is off the charts. There's a lot of good stuff to see there. And you know what's scary about it is that we haven't seen the ceiling of Baron Browning. And I don't think we're even close to scratching the surface of the ceiling of Baron Browning. He's not a technical player yet. He's not. He's still learning a lot of stuff. He's probably more technically savvy than I anticipated him being at this point, but he's still not even close to being like where some of these top edge rushers are on that point. So there's a lot of room to grow. And being a guy that's played so many different positions and has never really stuck at one, I'm excited to see what happens when he does, when they're like, okay, you're an edge for the next 5 years. What is he going to pick up? What is he going to learn? Is he going to continue to get better? I think the obvious answer is yes. So it's really impressive, and I'm looking forward to not just this year, but the future of Baron Browning at that position.
Whenever someone, including myself, talks about Baron Browning's lack of technique, my brain plays like the mental clip of him just running full steam into Dameon Pierce's chest. I love it so much. I do see people in the comments sarcastically saying, oh, people keep saying Browning went against some terrible OTs in his first starts and terrible tackles in his first start. And I think that's kind of a fair point, but I also think and yes, he's probably not going to produce like this every game of his career for the rest of his career, but you're seeing the special things that you can't teach in terms of his athleticism, in terms of his bend. And then I think you're seeing a surprising amount of technique. You're seeing some comfortability in the position, a position that's new to him, and he has barely played. And so I don't know. I'm feeling excited about it.
I mean, why not? Why can't we see that potential? Is it because it's normally unheard of? If there's I know the comments are
Cal's comment is nuts.
I just, if you're over and you're interested to see what the chat's saying, you can go ahead and hop on over to the YouTube stream and read all of them there. I really cannot highlight most of them. I want to also highlight another, I guess not highlight. I want to talk about Damari Mathis. And I think that it's worth talking about Damari Mathis because I feel like he got absolutely picked on for a lot of those pass interference calls. How did you guys feel about his play overall?
Yeah, so there's two ways to look at this, right? Is he ready to play right now? Probably not so much, right? Like, he's a rookie. He wasn't an early round draft pick. I don't think the expectations were or should have been for him to start right away. That was never what you draft a guy at that pick for, is like, you're going to go in and you're going to be ready right now. Frankie and I talked about this at the halftime. There's plenty of things to, though, look at while I can say that, right, and be like, okay, he's not ready right now. There's plenty of areas where I'm like, Damari Mathis is promising for the future. He's just not a very good starting cornerback right now. He tackles really, really well. That's something that I really have to highlight, is his tackling. It's refreshing to see at the cornerback position because sometimes it's passed over. People don't really think about it. When a cornerback misses a tackle, people aren't going crazy about it. It's really refreshing to see a guy go out there and make open field tackles consistently, and good open field tackles, stuff that the normal cornerback doesn't exactly make. He was in position for a lot of those plays he got PIs on too. He just gets really handsy. And Frankie said this during our halftime show. It was an issue from him coming out of college. We're kind of seeing it, where he's going to have to get coached out of it with more reps and stuff like that. He'll get better. I'm still hopeful for him going in the future, but I'm worried about this season in particular. If I'm just looking at this season, it's more worrisome than it is for me in the future.
Yeah, it's not great for this season. But yeah, I like that point. I think you do see some things that are promising for the future. You just hope that this season, because, man, people are going to go at him. When you have Damari Mathis on one side, and also K'Wan Williams has been playing really well in the nickel. That hasn't been talked about just because, you're not seeing the splash plays, but you're not talking about K'Wan Williams a lot because he's doing his job in coverage. Man, everyone's going to be thrown at Damari Mathis all the time. Hopefully we see Evero make some adjustments to give him some more help over there. Maybe we start seeing the Broncos play some more zone, or who knows. But yeah, I'm worried about it this year. I hope his confidence doesn't get fried, I guess, because man, he's going to get tested.
Can I add on to that real quick? I think you literally threw the oop up to me, Zach, and I'm going to dunk this real quick. Is after so many PIs, right? Some of them, a lot of fans would say, are questionable, but still, that could easily shake your confidence. I believe it was overtime. He still made a beautiful pass breakup on a third down to force a Chargers punt. That's it. That's like testaments to the guy that you drafted and his personality to not exactly give up on the game or the play or not get too far in his head, to still make a huge play in a massive situation. So yeah, that's what I'm guessing. But I do, the negative side is, hey guys, he was going against a lot of the time Jordan Palmer, right? Like it wasn't Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. It was Mike Williams and Jordan Palmer. Like those are the guys. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that you spelled it out to me as well, that when you have Patrick Surtain on the other side, you're gonna pick on the other guy quite frequently, because you're not going to be throwing at PS2, who was again outstanding. And I think we'll talk about that again on Tuesday's episode, when we do some good and some bad takes from that, when we're a little bit more calm. Keep your questions and comments coming. We'll highlight them as we can. We're going to move on to another one for special teams. I don't know what it says. Not so special teams. Yeah, that's pretty appropriate. That last play, last punt of the game, muffing that, Montreal Washington having a hard time, PJ Locke inadvertently stepping into him. A lot of it's a big case of again, what if, a game of inches, a game of like anything can happen. It bounced really poorly for the Broncos, but what else are you supposed to do in that situation? Montreal Washington could have yelled a little bit louder, but PJ was right on top of him, trying to block for him, doing everything you would hope that the special teams would do, and it just didn't go their way. Talk to me about that very last drive.
Yeah. No, this is Zach's right up Zach's alley. I'll let him take it away.
I will say nothing. It's funny that you teed up on that. I don't think any losses, and I think I'm traumatized from like the Broncos punt returners of the early 2010s, but like no form of loss makes me more mad than like muffed punts. That just like, it's so painful. It's just like, oh my God, like on that, and especially in that form, to Bri's point, it does feel like just an awful spell of luck. But I also think it's just coaching. Like so many parts of this whole team, it just looks like, ooh, that's executed poorly. Ooh, that's executed poorly. And yes, the players certainly deserve some credit for that. Yes, I don't think the ball is bouncing the Broncos' way right now. But also, I just think they're poorly coached. And it wasn't only that. Montreal Washington also had the muffed punt earlier in the game. We're praising him when he was having small sample sizes of explosive punts. When you only have 2 punt returns in a game and both of them are muffed, that's pretty painful.
Yeah, thank you for having your expert opinion ready for special teams, punters, kickers, and kick returners. That was great insight there.
That's what I'm here for. Joey's the offensive guy. You're the defensive gal with Patrick Surtain, and I'm here for the specialist.
Watman and McManus, man.
I've got a 2,000-word Fabroni piece dropping tomorrow.
Let's go.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Guys, unless there's any more comments on the special teams.
Okay.
Yes.
James, go ahead, Zach.
Wait, do you have one on special teams? I think you're taking mine. Go for it, Joey. Get in on the special teams love.
No, I don't have anything on special teams.
Oh, dang. Aaron Patrick. I've got 2 because of Indy's comment. 1, Aaron Patrick, feel bad for him. He was a really good player on the Broncos special teams. Another ACL tear. And did it trying to stop himself from running into just someone on the sidelines, I believe, a media member.
His foot got caught on the carpet on the sideline. Just terrible.
Oh, feel terrible for him. Hope he bounces back. But, he's a special teams guy. That's always tough. So definitely heart goes out to Aaron Patrick because he was making a valuable impact for the Broncos. And then Indy's saying send Tyree Cleveland to jail. And, that's definitely strong. but he has been bad on special teams. There was one I can vividly remember last night where he runs down on coverage and it's one-on-one, him and the returner, and he just like ran right by the returner. It's like, what are you doing? Well, the Broncos are spending a roster spot on you to do what you just did, like at the worst possible level. I don't know. Why are you spending a roster spot on that? There's just a lot of guys on this roster. There's a lot of exciting pieces on this roster. I hopefully we'll dive more in depth into that at some point. But man, there's a lot of pieces on this roster where it's like, why is this guy here?
Alrighty then. Gentlemen, it is that time of the night. It's Joey's question of the day.
Is it Joey's question of the day? Or were we not going to?
Joey's question of the day. Brought to you by Russell Wilson's, I don't know, something.
Oh, all right.
Hold a ripcord on that.
My question of the day, and this was inspired by Bri, but I'm curious, what would you do? What's the max you would do? Or what's the max amount of money, let's say, as a Broncos fan? Bri's a season ticket holder. Zach's a lifelong Broncos fan. What's the most you would give away money wise to make Russell Wilson's career better, or like get it back on track, Hall of Fame career?
Personally, like what would I be willing to spend?
Yeah. What would you be willing to spend the max?
On Russell Wilson.
What do you mean by on track? Like, give me.
I'm talking about Hall of Fame,
how on track?
Top 10 offense, bro. All the stuff we were hyped up about before.
For how many years?
Second round, worth 2 firsts and worth 2 seconds.
He lives up to the trade. He
lives up to the trade. Yeah. How many Mile High Sports paychecks, Zach? We don't even have to put. We don't even have to put a. We don't even have to put price on it. Let's go. How many Mile High Sports paychecks?
Mile High Sports paychecks. I'd say. How many years? How many years do you get out of it?
We just signed him. What do you mean? We have him on an extension.
8.
All right, I'd say 2 or 3, honestly, because if we're being real, fan interest impacts the media game. If fans are interested in the Broncos, it's better for me. It's better for my job. I'm actually nervous about this. I had people DMing me last night that I didn't follow, but like requesting to DM me, being like, "Oh, you just love hating on the team." No, I don't. I hate it. It's miserable. It's bad for my career. But I've kind of got to, because that's what the job is requiring at this point. So I'd give a good bit. Don't bring up the Russell Wilson sandwich right now, man. This is a dark place for Broncos.
It's spicy. Okay.
Absolutely nothing.
You would give up nothing to see the Broncos succeed?
Your question was to have Russell Wilson live up to his expectations.
Yeah, and that would make the Broncos
success can
succeed.
Be found elsewhere.
Christopher wouldn't pay a dime. What's going on right now?
No, I pay enough for the for my my tickets and my life spent talking about this team. I am indebted, and I don't think I need to give any more. I would do a lot for a Broncos win, but not enough like for a Klondike bar if we're going like that far. But
okay, wait, can I reframe it then for you, Bri?
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
let's say it's a repeat of Super Bowl 50 where the Broncos defense is amazing and Russell Wilson's still like, it's Russell Wilson, but the defense is carrying him to Super Bowls.
They're already doing that. They just can't score enough points to win. We need more pick sixes in our lives and turnovers that go our way. And I would pay a lot of money to see that.
Bri, what if Wilson just looks like, I don't know, like late career Tom Brady and is just like carried by a talented roster to another ring? What if he just does that?
Late career Tom Brady? This is ridiculous.
I just had to throw some gasoline on it. Bri has left the call.
Oh no, who's gonna sign us out?
I'm sorry. Brady is much better than this. He should have won MVP last year.
He should have won MVP last year, and I will die on that hill. Suck it, Aaron Rodgers. Guys, tell everyone where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, everyone go follow me at JR Drafts. Find my writing at Mile High Sports. Listen to Frankie and I's halftime. It's kind of like a pod, but it's Twitter Spaces. So make sure you're doing that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Mile High Sports. I'm doing stock up, stock down. I think they're really fun, even in this dark chapter in Broncos history. The great thing about stock up, stock down is I'm talking about positive things every time. So if you want to like engage in the misery, there's plenty of that there. If you want to look at the bright side of things, there's some fun stuff about Baron Browning and Patrick Surtain, which surprisingly we didn't get into here. So go
We didn't
check
even get
that out.
into
I'm really
Hackett,
proud
by the way.
of how those articles have went.
Have a nice night, every single person who is in the chat. You've been absolutely wonderful to engage with tonight. A lot of these comments, I wish I could highlight. I was laughing. I was getting hysterical. Our private chat looks much to the same. You guys are incredible. You can catch me on the Fan Cave Mile High Sports Radio on Mondays, 1 to 2 p.m. Zach likes to join me over there. We talk about the Broncos and some other things. It was actually a very entertaining show. You can catch the replay over on my Twitter. Follow me, Bri 303. And you can see me every day here with the Let's Talk Broncos crew. We love you. Good night. Goodbye.
Goodbye.